Hey, welcome back to our series of preparing for an interview. Today, we're going to be moving on to some new questions here on LeetCode. So this series is all about preparing for big interviews, specifically, these big FANG type companies, Facebook, Google, Amazon. Basically, I'm going to be going through all of Facebook's LeetCode problems. We'll be skipping the hard ones and coming back and dedicating full videos to each one. But for now, we're going to go through and make our way through our mediums and easies. So today will be a double Roman integer day. So we have 12 and 13. Last episode, I did 11 and 9, which were pretty easy. Again, I skipped 10 because it's a hard one. I'll come back and do that in a full video later. But today we're going to be doing 12 and 13, in which we convert an integer to a Roman numeral, and in 13, the easy version, a Roman numeral to an integer. Even though it has a lower acceptance rating, even though it's an easy, there's a few tricks that we'll talk about, but other than that, it should be pretty straightforward. So let's go ahead and jump into integer to Roman numeral. I did this one before. I deleted the code just so I can walk you through it again. So let's talk about this real quick. Roman numerals are represented by 7 different symbols: I, V, X, L, C, D, and M. I is 1, V is 5, X is 10, L is 50, C is 100, D is 500, M is 1000. So the number 3 would be I, 3 I's. The number 5 would be V. The number 30 would be XXX. Number 50 would be L. 300 would be CCC. 500 is D. 3000 would be MMM. You combine these up. So if I wanted to say 6, I'd say VI. If I want to say 11, I'd say XI. If I want to say 60, I'd say LX. If I want to do 150, I'd do CL. If I want to do 600, I'd go DC. 1500 would be MD. And then we also have another special rule where we have these numerals which can be placed in front. So in order to get 4, you don't say I, you would say IV. So that would be 5 minus 1, IV. Same thing with 9. It wouldn't be VII. It would be IX. So 10 minus the one in front, which would be IX. Same thing with 40. That would be L or XL. For 90, it would be XC, or 10 less of 100. For 400, it would be CD. For 900, it would be CM. So basically, what we got to do is we're going to go ahead and create a conversion map. So they provide us this one, but we're also going to be including these special characters. So IV, XL, XC, CD, CM. So, of course, what you have probably noticed is that we start from the left and work our way in. So they provide this it in this order, but what I'm going to do is flip the order upside down. We're going to go M in 1000 as our key value, but we're also going to do it differently. So we're going to go say our value is now our new key. So our key of 1000 will equal an M value. Why are we doing that? Because we're converting a number, so we won't use that as our key. We're using this number and converting it to the Roman symbol. So we'll go ahead and get started. So we'll say let, what would that be? Roman map? We can call it that. Maybe we can call it conversion map. Maybe that would be better. Let conversion map equal, and what we want to do is say a new map. Now, with the map method in map object in JavaScript, you don't want to add yours like this. That's not how it works. We actually are going to be putting in an array of arrays. So for example, our first one will be 1000, and that will have a value of M. Our next one will be not 500, it will be 900. So we have 900, and that will have a value of cm. All right. Next up, we have our 500. So we'll have 500 with a value of d. Next up, we have a value of a key of 400 with a value of 100 minus 500, which would be cd. Next up, we have a 100. So that would be our c, 100 with a value of c. Then we have our 90. So that would be 90, which will be our 100 minus 10. So x and c. Oops. xc. All right. Next up, what do we have? We have our 50, which will have a value of L. Next up, we have our 40, which will have a value of 10 minus 50, or 50 minus 10, which will be XL. All right. Then we have a value of 10, or a key of 10 with a value of X. Then we have our 9, which has a value of 10 minus 1, so that'd be IX. Then we have our 5, which would be a value of V. Then we have our 4, which has a value of IV. And finally, we made it to our last symbol, which is I, which is 1 with a value of, I. So that would create our map, our correct map. So that would be our conversion map. All right, so that's what we want to do. Next up, we also want to keep track of our output. So let output equal an empty string. And we want to keep track of our remaining value. So let remaining equal, you can call this a constant actually, because it won't be changing. Let remaining equal, what are we going to be equal to? Our number. So what we want to do is cycle through all of these key value pairs, and we want to make sure that we get the, calculate it out. So let's say, for example, we have our first number, let's call it 2,000. So how do I know how many m's there are? I divide this number by this. So if I have 2001, I want to use a math.floor. So this would be 2,000 divided by 1,000, and then we use floor to get rid of this 0.001 at the end. So that's one way of doing it. And then how do we update this here? So then what we want to do is use our modifier to get the remainder. So we would use this bad boy right here. So we'll do 2,000 of this, and then we'll be left with a 1. So we'll update as we go, and then, yeah, basically we go through all of these key value pairs, and then we'll output our answer. So do you remember how to go through all key value pairs? It's easy with the new map object. We do this for constant of key and value, very straightforward, of our conversion map. And what do we say? We say let our count equal, that would be our math.floor of our remaining divided by our current key. All right. And then what we want to do is we want to update our output. So output equals output plus, and we say we have our key and we want to do our value. So repeat. So value.repeat is a method we can call on a string, and we want to repeat it the number of count times. So this could be 0, it could be 1, it could be 2, it could be 3, and we update our output like that. And then what we want to do is update our remaining. So we need to get rid of the amount that we added to our output already. So remaining equals our remaining. And we use this button here to get our remainders. So after we get rid of our key here, so remaining equals remaining with this to get our remainder when it's divided by this key. So if we have 2,100, first up we get a count of 2 because that is 2,100 divided by a key is 2.1, and we use floor, so that's 2. So then our output is an empty string plus a new value m times 2 times, so that'll be our new output. And then our remaining is now equal to our remaining, which is our 2,100, and we use this to get the remainder divided by this 1,000, so that would be 100 would be our new remaining. And then we go through and we check them all, and then we end up with m, and c for that one there. And then what we do is return our output. And yeah, that should work. Let's go ahead and run it. Why not? Does it work? It does work. All right, very good. So pretty straightforward, pretty simple. And yeah, that's how you do it. We're going to move on to our next one, which is converting a Roman numeral to an integer. So what we're going to get is a Roman numeral. So we have x, x, v, I. So what we're going to do is create a map again of these values. We don't need to create a new one because when we're converting, we know if the one to the right is greater than it, we subtract it. If the right is equal to or less than, we add. So what we want to do is say, create our new map. So we'll say const conversion map equals, and what are we saying it equals to? A new map. And remember, when we create a new map in JavaScript, we have to do it this way. So we say I is equal to 1. We say v is equal to 5. We say x is equal to 10. Let's see, we have L is equal to 50. We have C, which is equal to 100. We have D, which is equal to 500. And we have M, which is equal to 1,000. All right, so that is our map. That's our conversion map. And then what we want to do is go through this string, character by character, and we say, let's see, for example, we'll have XXVII. So first we'll look at position 0. We say X is equal to 10. Okay, we have 10. Is it less than or equal to, is it greater than or equal to this X? Yes, it is. So we add it. Next, we move over here to this next X. We have X. Is it greater than or equal to this V? Yes, it is greater than or equal to. We add this X again, which is this 10. So we're now at 20. Next, we move over to this V. This V is equal to 5. We check it. It is, yes, it is greater than or equal to this 1. We add 5. We're now at 25. The same thing with this 1. And then this 1. So we'll end up with 27, which is what is expected over here. Yeah, so it's pretty straightforward. We're just going to go through and loop through every single character. And we do need to keep track of our index. So we'll be using a classic for loop where I equals 0, with I representing the indices. So we'll say for let I equal 0, I is less than s dot length, I increments. And of course, over here, we're going to have our let our output equal our 0. All right, so yeah. So what we're going to do is first we're going to check. Basically, we'll do a quick check to see if I is the very last character. So we say if I triple equals s dot length minus 1, then what we want to do is we have to immediately say that our output is equal to plus equals increments by the basically what I do is get conversion map dot get, and we're going to get the s at I. And then what you want to do is continue. It's just break out of this, and then we'll go back there. I will be incremented. It will be past it. All right, so that's one way. And then our next one would be a different if check. So if basically s at, we'll say conversion map dot get. We could put this in up front actually. So we'll say let cur value equal conversion map dot get, and inside here we'll say s at I. And then here we can get rid of this. We can say cur value. So here we'll go say if cur value is less than what? Less than our conversion map dot get, and we say s at I plus 1. If it is less than that, then what we want to do is subtract it from the output, because that is an indication that it would be like this, CD. So 100 is less than 500. So what we want to do is subtract 100 from here. And then when we get to 500, we add 500, and that gives us 400. So if that happens, what we want to do is say output minus equal our cur value. All right. And else, what we want to say is output plus equal our cur value. So if it is equal to or greater than the element to the right, we will add it, because that is what we should do. And then we'll increment. And yeah, that's about it. So we'll come down here. What we're going to do is return our output. So yeah, pretty straightforward. So we have our map. That took the longest to do, is just creating the map. And then what we want to do is cycle through every character of this string, and we get its value from the conversion map. And then, if it's the very last character in the string, we know that we will automatically add it. Then we come down here, we check if the value is less than the character to its right, such as CD, where C is less than D. What we do is subtract it from our output. If it is equal to or greater than, what we do is add it to our output. And then what we do is return our output. So let's go ahead and run this bad boy. And what do we get? We do pass. All right, very good. 3 is 3, okay. And I'll submit it just to run against a larger test suite. We do pass. Oh, look at that. We are in the 85th percentile. Pretty good. Nearly 86. And our memory is not so good. C'est la vie. If you want to increase your memory, what you can do is pretty much create a map of I, IV, V, IX, etc. I did that before. If I can show you. All submissions. I did that for this one here, where I was better than 80%, but you know, it's a balance between runtime and memory. So if you want to focus more on memory, it would be good to create a map of all of them, pretty much. IV, V, IX, etc. But what you're doing is pretty much doubling where you're keeping track. And yeah, if you want to focus more on runtime, it is better to do it this way, where we have an increase in runtime. Anyways, that is today's video. Thank you so much for listening to me explain what I did. And, you know, the best way to remember is to teach others. And if you want to, you know, remember what you learned today, go ahead, make a video, teach other people. That's what I did. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, I can answer. Put them below. I'll do my best to get back to you as quick as possible. And have a great day.